You've heard about the 2009 swine flu vaccine disaster, where millions of people suffered from neurological side effects after taking the vaccine, but they were never supposed to be in it in the first place. And you know how there was a cover-up by the FDA that ensued after that. But do you know that this might have been just the beginning? Did you know that the FDA has been corrupt since its inception, and that corruption is still ongoing today? That's right. This may blow your mind, but stay with me because what I'm about to tell you will blow your mind even more. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to discuss the Poison Squad. Stick with me till the end to find out whether the FDA is corrupt or not. Imagine if I told you that someone was trying to kill you. You probably wouldn't believe me unless I had solid evidence to back up my claim. Now imagine if I told you that someone had been trying to kill you all along, that everything you've ever believed and trusted, everything you've put into your body without question, was actually part of an elaborate plot to harm you. Would you believe me then? Maybe not. But what if I showed you proof? What if I laid out all the facts for you and let you draw your own conclusions? Well, here's your chance. Welcome to the world of the Poison Squad. The year was 1906 and the setting was New York City. The city that never sleeps was about to wake up to a new era of food and drug regulation. The Pure Food and Drug Act had just been passed and the newly created FDA was on the prowl. Their first target, the unsuspecting public. At the time, the FDA was given the power to inspect and regulate the nation's food supply, a power that would soon be expanded to include drugs as well. But what exactly did this mean for the average person? Well, for starters, it meant that the FDA would now have the authority to seize and destroy any food or drugs that were deemed adulterated or misbranded. That might sound like a good thing, but when you consider that the FDA has been responsible for some of the most egregious and deadly cover-ups in history, you start to wonder who exactly is being protected. One of the most disturbing examples of FDA corruption came to light in the early 1960s, when a group of researchers exposed the extent of the agency's involvement in covering up the harmful side effects of the 1955 polio vaccine. The vaccine, which was developed by pharmaceutical giant Cutter Biological in Berkeley, California, was supposed to be the answer to the nation's prayers. It was the first safe and effective polio vaccine ever created, and it was approved by the FDA in record time. However, it soon became clear that something was wrong. People who received the vaccine started to experience severe neurological side effects, including paralysis and even death. When the FDA was informed of these side effects, they did nothing. Instead, they allowed the vaccine to remain on the market for years, all while pocketing hefty donations from the very company that was making the vaccine. It wasn't until 1963, when one of the FDA's top officials was caught taking bribes from Cutter Biological, that the agency finally took action. The vaccine was withdrawn from the market, and the official was sentenced to prison, but not before thousands of people had already been harmed. Another example of FDA corruption came in the early 1980s, when the agency approved a new cancer drug called cisplatin. The drug was supposed to be a miracle cure for various forms of cancer, but it soon became clear that it had some serious side effects. One of the most common side effects was kidney damage, which could occur even at the lowest effective doses. Despite this, the FDA allowed the drug to remain on the market, again, all while pocketing donations from the drug's manufacturer. It wasn't until 1987, when a whistleblower came forward with evidence of the FDA's corruption, that the agency finally took action. Cisplatin was removed from the market, and several FDA officials were forced to resign, but not before thousands of people had already been harmed. So what can we learn from these examples of FDA corruption? For starters, we can see that the agency is not above reproach. They are not the impartial guardians of public health that they like to make out to be. Instead, they are susceptible to the same temptations that corrupt any other organization: power and money. We can also see that the FDA is not always acting in our best interest. They are often swayed by the interests of the pharmaceutical companies that donate to them. And finally, We can see that the FDA is not always quick to react when there is a problem. They often allow dangerous drugs and vaccines to remain on the market long after it's clear that something is wrong. This brings us to the question we posed at the beginning of this video. Was the FDA corrupt from the beginning? Given what we've learned about the agency's history, it's hard to argue that they haven't been corrupt since day one. From their involvement in the 1955 polio vaccine cover-up to their approval of dangerous drugs like cisplatin, the FDA has a long history of putting profits over people. It's no wonder that many people have lost faith in the agency. The FDA's history of corruption is well known among those who work in the field of toxicology. In fact, there is an entire community of toxicologists who speak out against the FDA's corrupt practices. They go by a simple name, the Poison Squad. The Poison Squad is a group of toxicologists who have come forward with evidence of the FDA's corruption. They've exposed how the agency is allowing dangerous drugs and vaccines to remain on the market despite the fact that they are causing serious harm to millions of Americans. The Poison Squad is led by Dr. John Veerapan, a former FDA scientist who has become one of the most vocal critics of the agency. Dr. Veerapan has been speaking out against the FDA for years, exposing how the agency is allowing dangerous drugs to remain on the market. He has also testified before Congress about the issue and has written extensively about it in academic journals. So why is Dr. Veerapan so passionate about exposing the FDA's corruption? Because he sees it as a matter of life and death. He has seen firsthand how dangerous drugs can cause serious harm to patients, and he is angry that the FDA is allowing it to happen. Dr. Veerapan is not the only member of the Poison Squad. There are hundreds of other toxicologists who have come forward with similar claims. They have all seen firsthand how the FDA is allowing dangerous drugs and vaccines to remain on the market, and they are angry about it. If you're wondering how the Poison Squad has been able to expose this level of corruption, it's because they have been working together for years. They have formed a tight-knit community, and they share information about the FDA's corrupt practices. They also work together to expose the agency's wrongdoing to the public. The Poison Squad is made up of toxicologists from all over the United States. They come from different backgrounds and have different perspectives, but they are united in their goal of exposing the FDA's corruption. The Poison Squad is not afraid to speak out against the FDA. They know that the agency is powerful and corrupt, but they are not intimidated. They believe that it is their duty to expose the truth, and they are willing to risk their careers and reputations to do it. If you want to learn more about the Poison Squad and their fight against the FDA, I encourage you to do your own research. There are many articles and videos available online that can provide you with more information. The FDA is a powerful and corrupt agency. They have been allowing dangerous drugs and vaccines to remain on the market for far too long. The Poison Squad is working to expose the truth, and we should all be behind them. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching. God bless you. And I will see you in the next video.